everyone, my name is Jess, and today I will be talking about energy production and use in Canada. Let's get into it. Canada produces and uses many different energy resources. Today we will touch on non-renewables, such as crude oil and natural gas, renewable energy generation, and also nuclear energy. We will also discuss how these resources are used in various sectors from residential to industrial. Starting off with our country's energy production. Crude oil is one of Canada's most important energy exports and a key driver of our economy. It's a thick, liquid fossil fuel found in underground reservoirs and extracted through drilling. In 2023, Canada produced 5.1 million barrels per day, making it the fourth largest oil producer globally. Alberta is the main source, producing 84% of Canada's oil. Crude oil needs to be refined before it is a usable product, such as gasoline and diesel. So Canada has 17 refineries, and the products that they produce represent the second most consumed energy source in the country. The largest such facility is the Irving Oil Refinery in New Brunswick, processing 320,000 barrels daily. However, because demand for more environmentally sustainable fuels is on the rise, the transition to cleaner fuels is underway with projects like the Bria Renewable Fuels Refinery in Newfoundland, producing renewable diesel. Natural gas is another crucial energy source for Canada. It's another fossil fuel found deep underground, often near oil deposits. In 2023, Canada produced nearly 18 billion cubic feet of natural gas daily, ranking it as the fifth largest producer globally. Alberta and British Columbia produce the most natural gas out of all provinces. Natural gas is used for heating, electricity generation, and as a fuel for industrial processes. Canada exports large amounts to the US, with many pipelines running across the country to deliver it domestically and abroad. Natural gas plays a major role in industrial sectors like manufacturing and chemical production, and it's also used in homes for heating and cooking. The importance of natural gas is especially apparent in Ontario and Western Canada, where it's the primary source of heating during the winter months. Canada is a leader in electricity generation, with most of its power coming from hydroelectricity. This process uses the force of water flow to turn turbines that generate electricity. Canada ranks third in the world for hydroelectric generation, producing over 60% of its power from this renewable source. Quebec, Manitoba, and British Columbia rely heavily on hydroelectric plants due to their abundant water resources. Wind power and solar energy are also growing, contributing 7% of total electricity in 2021. These cleaner energy sources are helping Canada reduce its reliance on fossil fuels for electricity. Uranium is another energy resource that Canada produces in large quantities. It is a key element for nuclear energy production, which involves using uranium as fuel in reactors to generate electricity. Canada is the world's second largest producer of uranium, with the McArthur River mine in Saskatchewan being the world's largest high-grade uranium mine. Nuclear power in Canada accounts for about 15% of the country's electricity generation. Ontario is the largest producer of nuclear power, with several reactors in operation at facilities like the Darlington Nuclear Generating Station. Outside of Ontario, the only active nuclear power plant is in Point Lepreau, New Brunswick. While there are no nuclear power plants in Western Canada, Alberta and Saskatchewan have been exploring the feasibility of nuclear power in recent years. Now, moving on to how we use energy across the country. Canada's cold climate means that residential heating accounts for a large portion of energy use. Natural gas is the most common heating fuel, although electricity and oil are also used in some areas. This makes Canada one of the highest per capita energy consumers in the world for residential energy use. In fact, Canadians consume more energy per person than countries with similar climates such as Sweden or Finland. Transportation is another significant consumer of energy in Canada, with gasoline and diesel being the primary fuels. In 2022, the transportation sector was responsible for nearly a quarter of Canada's total energy use. The transportation sector includes passenger vehicles, freight, and air travel. Canada is working on increasing the adoption of electric vehicles, but their share of the market remains relatively small compared to traditional internal combustion engine vehicles, especially in colder regions. The frequent lack of public transit options is also facing scrutiny, as increasing transit options can dramatically reduce the number of daily commutes in individual cars. This would also help to significantly reduce Canada's energy consumption in the transportation sector. Canada's industrial sector is a major energy consumer, especially in industries like oil and gas extraction, mining, manufacturing, and chemical production. The extraction and refining of oil and natural gas require significant energy inputs, as does the production of metals such as aluminum and steel. Energy use in this sector is primarily from natural gas and electricity, but the oil sands industry in Alberta also relies heavily on electricity and water for extraction processes. Greenhouse gas emissions remain a challenge for Canada, particularly in oil and gas production. Greenhouse gases, or GHGs for short, are gases in the Earth's atmosphere, such as carbon dioxide and methane, that trap heat from the sun inside the atmosphere, thus warming the planet. Greenhouse gas emissions refers to the release of these gases into the air, often from burning fossil fuels or from agriculture. The greenhouse effect in itself is natural and essential for keeping Earth a livable temperature. However, when the greenhouse effect is enhanced by human greenhouse gas emissions, the effects become excessive. When too many greenhouse gases are released, it leads to global warming and climate change, causing more extreme weather, rising sea levels, and other harmful environmental impacts. In 2022, Canada emitted 708 megatons of CO2 equivalent, with the oil and gas sector being the largest contributor. As previously mentioned, Canada's energy consumption per capita is one of the highest in the world. This is partly due to the country's vast size, harsh winters, and energy-intensive industries. In 2022, Canada's per capita energy consumption was about 300 gigajoules per person, which is significantly higher than countries like Germany or the UK. However, Canada's overall energy efficiency is improving. Energy conservation measures and the increasing adoption of renewable energy sources are helping to reduce the carbon footprint of Canada's energy sector. Canada is also working to align its energy production and use with climate goals, aiming to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. To sum it all up, Canada is an extensive, geographically diverse nation, which currently depends on and produces a significant share of fossil fuels. Especially in Western Canada, oil and natural gas are essential to maintaining provincial economies and providing winter heating. However, the recent years have seen notable energy shifts across the country. More residents and industries are slowly adopting renewable sources of energy with lower carbon footprint, such as hydroelectric and nuclear power. While the widespread use of natural gas heating may continue, a potential transition to cleaner vehicle fuel and improved public transit systems can help reduce Canada's transportation sector emissions. Meanwhile, potentially decreased demand for fossil fuels during this transition could lead to our industrial sector using less energy on the production of fossil fuels. The main challenges that Canada will face regarding energy use will be balancing the shift to cleaner energy sources and the possible economic loss from fossil fuel production. However, on the bright side, the work and revenue provided by the construction and operation of renewable energy sources, such as hydroelectric dams, can greatly help in this balance of sustainability and economy. If the country successfully navigates these challenges in the coming decades, we may indeed see a carbon-neutral Canada by 2050. Thanks for tuning in to True North Geography, and we'll see you next time.